Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Gemini September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first thing up is as far as September goes, Venus will be in Libra from the 14th until the 30th. So the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, Gemini, if you're unattached, you may connect with a Libra Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Libra characteristics. It could be for perhaps a superficial fling. It could be for some romantic love situation. It could be also, another way this may manifest, this could also be about the enjoyment and love of Libra sports, and it could include something like tennis, anything that is connected with balance, like tennis or gymnastics, or even ice skating, something where balance is really, really very important, or even playing a Libra type game, which is connected with balance, such as Jenga. Uh, could also be at this time where you value diplomacy, tact, refinement in matters with children, with lovers, and also about maybe making, if you're into investing, putting money in. Really dispersing money very evenly, very fairly into perhaps different type investments or different stocks or whatever it may be. This is also a time too where the thing about this is this could be about really just the enjoyment and love of peace with matters in the fifth house, and it could be again with lovers, with children, and also too at this time as well. This could be really just about making money through some kind of Libra creative endeavor, such as something with art. So anyway, next thing up, Mars will be in Virgo, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, one way this may manifest, this could be about perhaps contentious, acrimonious situations with home, family members becoming angry at overly critical, judgmental home family members, people you're close to home with. It could be about a lot of energy, really with a lot of that Virgo industry and hard work, getting in touch with your roots, your ancestry, and also too another way this may manifest as well, if you're unattached at this time, Gemini, you may connect with a Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Virgo traits. It could be for a sexual liaison, and also being very discriminating in sex, and it could be somebody that you're close to home with, or home or family member had introduced you to. It could also be a person that may be there for you at the end or latter part of life, and you might find yourself becoming a little bit angry at Virgo qualities at the core, such as being overly pedantic or overly punctilious with details, or judgmental, critical, anything, or even some cases hypochondriac tendencies in some isolated ones. So those are some ways that this may manifest. So next thing up, Jupiter will be in Sagittarius still, so the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, as I've spoken about previously, Jupiter could be very paradoxical, it could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. In a lot of cases, this may enlarge and expand rather foolhardy, reckless, over-optimistic, over-enthusiastic, exuberant behavior from a grandmother, a marriage partner, someone you're in a significant other situation with. It could be in legal matters. This could also expand Sagittarius type open adversaries. They could be Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Sagittarius characteristics, or even people in Sagittarius professions such as the law, translation, advertising, publishing, sports. And also, too, it could be very fortuitous in some cases for dealing with open adversaries or open enemies, legal opponents. A lot of this could be predicated and dependent on aspects. This makes the points in your chart. If this makes a positive aspect, it's sextile or trine, say, to your natal Jupiter, it could be very auspicious. but if it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn, it may not be quite as lucky. A lot of it, again, could be dependent on aspects. If it makes a positive sextile trine to your natal Venus, it could be about money, perhaps gain through a lawsuit, and would be very auspicious for that. It would also be about the enlargement and putting a lot of enthusiastic energy into Sagittarius type competitions, such as it could be something at a college, university, or something with sports, anything that could be Sagittarius related, knowledge of the law, something that, again, could be Sagittarius connected. Next thing up, Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, you may find at this time, Gemini, that your libido might be a little bit restricted and limited. It might also be about taking responsibility for debts, loans, could be taxes, insurance situations. You might find yourself too taking care of a sickly or debilitated sexual partner, someone you're in an intimate relationship with. It could also be someone you're in a shared resources situation with. It could be something that might be it might be connected with the bones, the knees, the joints, the hamstrings, and maybe making you feel somewhat despondent and melancholy. But older people might figure more prominent in your perhaps in matters with transformation at this time and shared resources situation, but it could also be a time for loss in those matters as well. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Uranus will be in Taurus at this time, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, this could manifest in a multitude of ways. Well, one way could be about dealing with perhaps Uranus type hidden adversaries. That could be people that are in astrology or astronomy, aerospace innovators, people that are in computers or electronics. Could also be about, at this time, remember that you might be experiencing some unusual form of intuition at this time, and also too, sometimes it could be about idiosyncratic or bizarre behavior might be misconstrued for perhaps a mental illness in some cases, because remember, this is the house of confusion. It's also the house of mental illness, but it could be also where somebody just might get that impression, given that we're talking about the 12th house of confusion, and Uranus, of course, could be about very bizarre energy. Now, it could also be about perhaps an unusual need for solitude and seclusion, and also maybe very bizarre, unusual clandestine affairs in some isolated cases. Now, in some cases, too, that could be very isolated. This may manifest in the form of some very odd or bizarre mental illness, but a lot of this, of course, could be predicated independent on aspects as makes the points in the chart. If it makes a square to your 3rd house cusp or an adverse aspect to your natal Mercury, of course, it could increase the propensity for that. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. But anyway, the next thing up, Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, Gemini, you might find yourself getting involved in a Neptune type career or profession. It could be something connected with poetry, dancing, photography, something with illusion like magic, the metaphysical, which could include astrology, spirituality, anything that could be Neptune related. 10th house people might be more deceptive and duplicitous than usual. It could be the dominant parent, which is often the father, somebody prominent in your career. It could be authority figures. It could be business people. And also, too, at this time, just make sure that when you're looking at, Neptune energy, it could be more lethargic and lackadaisical. And if you're talking about the 10th house, and this could be a time where you might feel more like fantasizing and daydreaming regarding 10th house matters and actually taking action in connection with them, especially if this is making an adverse aspect to your natal Sun, Mars, or your Ascendant at this time. But also at this time, it could be a period, sadly, of some kind of slander or defamation of character, which might adversely affect your your public image and your reputation at this time, but it could also be about a lot of idealism in terms of reaching success, attaining a position of authority or greater stature in life at this time. Last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, as I've talked about, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but I'm going to anyway. In some cases, this may manifest an actual or literal death of a sexual partner, someone you're in an intimate relationship with. It could be somebody that you're in a shared resources situation with. But at the same time, it could also be really about power struggles with people you're in a shared resources situation with a sexual partner, but also maybe transformation through something 8th house related, such as astrology or anything. Could also be about, in some cases, positive. One positive element of this could be also about um, the figurative death of some tax or insurance matters, some debt at this time. It could be that eradication or obliteration of that, but also perhaps at the same time, looking at this could be where Plutonian type people might factor in more as far as you making that major change or transformation, and also having, you might at the same time, Pluto, this could be about expecting infallibility from 8th house people, such as tax examiners, people in insurance, people that are astrologers, or even a sexual partner, someone you're in an intimate relationship with. But also at the same time, those are some ways that this may manifest. You're talking about Pluto and the 8th house in astrology, and could also be about leaving like a Plutonian type legacy, such as somebody that had certain power, some kind of control in his or her life, an ability to transform, and about being resilient, and about being revitalized, about being able to be reborn, and about rebirth. So, and even a death of someone might maybe inspire you to make that major change or transformation in your life. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Gemini September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Cancer September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 1 of 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.